Hello, and welcome to What's What with Dilly and Dally. I'm your host, Dilly.
And I'm your host, Dally. What's up?
All right, let's get weird. I know that's not our normal intro, but it's fine.
It's fine. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Nicole, that's Emily, and we are best friends that live 3,000 miles away from each other. And because there's a global pandemic, we can't see each other in person yet. So we get together and we talk about stuff that interests us, current events, stuff that's happened to us in the past. Who knows? We talk about a lot of random stuff. And we go off on a lot of tangents. But that's all going to change because we're professionals.
Listen, we have a system now. So this is going to kind of change a little bit. Previously, a lot of our Dilly and Dally content was on our Patreon page. We are now moving to having this be its own segment, its own podcast, which is really exciting. But we need to get our shit together just a little bit. We can't really just talk for 4 hours about Gilmore Girls. So what we've decided to do, we're going to switch things up a little bit. Nicole and I are going to have 2 separate segments with 2 separate topics that we're going to talk about that of our choosing or y'all's choosing. If you want to give us a topic to talk about, absolutely, we will take your recommendations.
Yeah.
And then right in the middle, we're going to pull into what we have dubbed Hyperfixation-Station. And that's where one of us is going to go off for 15 minutes to just kind of talk about whatever we're hyperfixating on this week. And we're going to trade off. This week is my turn. Next week will be Nicole's. So we both get 15 minutes every other week to kind of just talk about whatever we're into. And then we move on to the next topic. So that's the plan. We'll see how well it goes. We've got timers. We've got plans.
Plans on plans on plans. On waffles. First topic, I guess, but we'll also throw in some fun things here and there that to like mix things up. It'll not always be the same kind of setup because we're wild like that.
It's whatever we feel like. We are chaos.
Yes, we really are. You're getting 2 non-neurotypical, chaotic, good people together.
It's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
They know what they're getting into.
We decided earlier today that the first topic was going to be adaptations in media from books to media, whether it be shows, movies. And not just books, though, actually, because video games, too, especially because Mortal Kombat just came out, and that's like a big deal. Yeah,
kind Mortal Kombat.
So I don't know how we want to start, but like my thought in my head was like, because there are so many, and I don't know how many you've consumed or I know I've consumed a lot of them. I know the most popular ones recently that I haven't actually read the books, but now that I know that they're books, I want to read them, are Bridgerton and Shadow and Bone, which I mentioned to you earlier when we were talking about this. Mm-hmm. Both of them have become TV series. Mm-hmm. That's like the books, because there's multiple books, which I think is smart when you've got multiple books to work with, mm-hmm. to do television shows instead of movies, because that's my biggest issue with book to adaptation, like book to movie adaptations when it's a series of books, mm-hmm. is that they try to condense so much source material into such a little itty bitty space, mm-hmm. and it fucking ruins it.
Hard agree. Absolutely.
In most cases, like I think the only book to movie adaptation that I liked that stays complete, not that I don't like all of them. I like some things about them, but the one that stays most faithful to its source material without like getting weird and like doing all these other weird shit that for some reason they like to do is called The Host. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, read the book. Okay, so Stephanie Meyer, the author of Twilight, it was her first novel after the Twilight series. And it's just one book. It's fucking huge. It's like a fucking Game of Thrones book huge. It's big. Just general gist is like an alien race comes to Earth and takes over the humans' bodies, but not in like a we want to like an evil way, or so you think. It's more, and they do it super quietly, where like all of a sudden everyone's just been taken over by these hosts, or that they're the you're the host, and like these aliens have taken over your body, and they did it in such a way that like nobody knew what was actually happening. It was like super, not like we're taking over your planet, give us, you know, like that kind of shit. They didn't attack. They did it like stealth. And they're like really intelligent, way beyond our intelligence. They have like cures for diseases. They like live in a very like socialist kind of society where like you can just walk into a grocery store and get what you need. You don't have to like ask. You could go to the doctor if you have a cut. You could just go to the doctor and they fix your cut. They don't ask you any questions. They're very trustworthy. Like they trust each other, these aliens. It's very strange. But there are people, human beings, that are like resisting and fighting back, and like they're in these like little factions and pockets, and there's a whole, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but anyway.
I was going to say, do we have like 27 minutes left?
No.
You could not go into each book this deep.
No, I'm not going to go into the book, but that adaptation, they did a movie of it. Saoirse Ronan's in it. She plays like the main character. I fucking love her. Max Irons is in it too, Jeremy Irons' son. Just the whole cast is pretty beautiful. And I came out of the theater, I went into with zero expectations like I usually do with book to movie adaptations. I was like, nope, this is going to suck. Like, just like Twilight did, just like Hunger Games did. They're fucking ruining all these books I really like.
Looking at you, City of Ember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Anyway. I walked out of that theater so pleasantly surprised and shocked at how they didn't diverge from anything. It wasn't like, you know how you picture a character a certain way when you're reading it, and then when you see the actor that's playing it, sometimes it's kind of disjointed because you're like, that's not how I pictured them. They didn't do it. It felt very much like they really leaned into what the descriptions and found as best as they could. Like they went for it, and I was proud of them. There are kind of weird adaptations from like video games that people get really mad about and that people hate, but I actually really like Prince of Persia. That was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Why?
I love that movie.
You can't like Prince of Persia. You can't.
I do. I think it's just because like Jake Gyllenhaal's gore. It's like the Mummy.
But it's like blackface adjacent. They were let's just dip Jake Gyllenhaal in like brown paint, put him in the middle of Persia, and make him like white savior, like incarnate. Like holy shit, they cannot do that.
I know why it has its issues, and I full on agree with those issues. I think that it's just like such a kitschy, fun kind of movie. Like all of that shitty stuff aside. Like I totally get that.
I can't set it aside. I can't. They put that man in brown paint and put him on the movie poster. They straight up went, oh, let me just take this little makeup sponge and like 6 shades darker and just tap, 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 just beat his face until he was brown. Uncool.
I thought he kind of was like naturally olive skinned, Jake Gyllenhaal. No?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. Before I realized that I was very gay, I was like really attracted to a lot of gay cinema. You would say I watch Brokeback Mountain a lot. You see a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal's body.
Okay.
No, he is not olive skinned. That boy is pale. That boy is very pale. Like, he's got, like, I would not call him olive-toned at all. Like, there's no way. Even if he spent time out in the sun, there's no way he looked that dark. There's no way. Like, they had to have put makeup on him or spray tanned him or something. And they had to know. They were like, yeah, we're taking this actor and darkening their skin tone so they look like they fit in culturally.
Yeah.
You messed up. You done messed up. Nope. We don't do that. You fucked up somewhere. Hire someone who's already that skin tone. Thank you. Please do not.
Yeah, so he is, I just wanted to look it up just to make sure, because, like, sometimes you find out that they are, like, you know, like that nationality or like that, you know, but nope, he is full on English and Swedish.
Yes, he is.
He full on white. He, like, as white as you can get.
White. Wholly white.
Yeah, so
he
like
is.
that, no. I get that he's got that, like, kind of, you know, I think that they picked him because he's got
dark
that, like,
hair.
Yeah, the dark hair and, like, the rakish look to him with, like, when he's got his beard on and stuff.
That's fair, but he doesn't look Persian.
Yeah, no, like, that was wrong. That was very wrong. I like the movie, like, the reason I brought that one up is because people make fun of it because the video game that it's based off of and the story that they ran with was, like, it was dumb as shit.
Oh, yeah, just, like, nowhere close, yeah.
And, like, that part, I don't care about. Like, I thought the story was funny and cute. And, like, that girl, the woman, the actress that's in it, woof, she's hot, too. She's beautiful. She's in a lot of other stuff that I like, book to movie adaptations, too. Like, she's in, which one is it? It's the one where, like, she finds out that she's, like, related to, like, a really rich family. And then it's horrible. It's like what happens to this girl in this book is horrible. And then she goes to, like, ask them for help because her family's kind of poor. And then she, like, her cousin or whatever is, like, a fucking asshole and ends up, like, raping her, and they have a kid, and he doesn't know about the kid, and the kid, like, dies later. She, like, gets shunned from, like, I cannot remember the book. It's one of, like, the English classics, like one of the, like, Brontes or I don't think it's Jane Austen. It might be, though.
I don't think it's Jane Austen. I feel like I remember that.
Yeah, well, she's got, like, 6 novels. People forget about Persuasion and Emma and
I have not forgotten about these books. I've read these, but that's why I'm like,
I'm trying to remember.
The fuck?
I'm trying to remember. I watched. It was like a BBC miniseries with the actress that was in Prince of Persia as the main character, and it's bothering me.
Look up the actress who played Prince of Persia and see what she was in. Now you're bothering me.
Sorry. So. Now that we're talking about Jane Austen, this is a very important question and a lot of debate on this question. What is your favorite adaptation of Pride and Prejudice?
Oh, that is very easy. Keira Knightley version.
Oh, hell yeah. That's the only right answer.
Only right answer.
But on a lot of, like, lists, like, listicles that people love to do on, like, BuzzFeed and shit, the Colin Firth one usually wins. I'm like, excuse me? Matthew McFadden is a way better Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
Dear Lord.
I mean, it was fine. Like, Colin did his best. Colin was fine. I'm not, like, knocking Colin. I'm also saying that the Keira Knightley version was better. It just was better. Come on, that whole proposal scene, he's standing in the rain and he's like, I hate your whole family, marry me. Dumb fucking puppy. Like, come on.
You're poor, you're kind of a bitch.
You suck
like,
so
I'm whole
much.
ass in love with you.
I love you, you bitch, marry me. What? That's not a proposal. Oh god, and she whole ass is like, no. And it just, like, leaves. So good. I will talk about a good book to movie adaptation. That version, especially the mom, chef's kiss. So good.
Yes.
So good.
Absolutely.
busybody ass running into the room and being like, everyone look alive, and like pinching cheeks. People are showing up. They were just sitting there like whatever, hanging out, and they're like petticoats or whatever else, and then she comes running in the room, and they're like, men are here, put your clothes on. Like, fuck, she was funny.
I mean, literally, like, the entire cast of that movie was like perfect. Mm-hmm. Every sister was played perfectly. Mm-hmm. Like, what's her name? Lydia, the actress that played Lydia. Anna,
I don't know actresses' names.
I can't remember her name.
I'm sorry.
She's in so many things. What the fuck? Why can't I remember her name?
Oh my God, we can't keep doing this.
No, we can't. That's so terrible. It's, she's the...
Jena Malone.
Jena Malone, yes.
We have to just look it up. We cannot sit here and think for like 20 minutes.
We were just talking about Jake Gyllenhaal. She's in fucking Donnie Darko with him. Like, we're playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon right now. Carey Mulligan played Kitty, and then and she ended up blowing up and becoming like this huge. I want to see that new movie that she's in, the one that got Oscar buzz. Woman of something. I can't remember what the hell it's called now. We keep doing this.
I know
that adaptation. Not only is it pretty fucking spot on to the book, like itself, like the source material. I mean, because how can you really be that close? Yeah, when the language in those books is like, woof. Just because it's Old English, kind of. So like, but they do a really good job at like the costumes, how they learned those old dances from all like back in the day. That scene where they're dancing and the room like disappears and it's just the two of them and they just keep like looking in each other's eyes. I can't.
It's so good.
I lose my shit every single time.
It's so good. Yeah, that's an amazing adaptation. I think, like, honestly, generally, I feel like the rule of thumb should be if the book series you are trying to create like a visual media for, if it has more than one book, make it a TV series. Just period. Just make it a TV series. Like, trying to shove an entire, like, just like 6 or 7 books into one movie, or God for fucking bid, have we learned our lesson from trying to do book and movie? Like, it still doesn't work. Like, and a lot of times, like, even if you're making a book into a movie, like, you still, if it's just one book, you still have to cut out so much, because the whole point is, like, if I sat down to read a book, yes, there's a lot of filler about, like, interpersonal conflict that you can display with like just a facial expression. So you can cut down pages just with facial expressions. But if it's a book that requires a lot of talking, most of those pages are dialogue. And so when you start cutting that dialogue is when you start missing parts of the story. And I just honestly, like, I feel like if you get to a point where you're like, we have cut so much from this, like we need to make this into 2 movies. We need like 3 movies. Make it into a series. Make it into a TV series. For the love of God.
It doesn't even have to be that many episodes. Like 10, 12. You don't have to make it like a full 21 series. Like, it doesn't need to be. But you're losing all of that exposition and all of that context. You're just throwing it out the fucking door. Yeah. To make a movie? Like, by the way, I found it. It was Thomas Hardy, Tess of the D'Urbervilles is the...
Oh, Tess.
That book is fucked up. And she played
that book
Tess.
Is fucked up.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if I read the whole thing, but I feel like I remember picking it up, but I don't think I finished it, to be entirely honest.
It was hard. I read it because... I didn't read it back when I was like really super into classics. I read it because she mentions it in 50 Shades of Grey in the beginning. It's what she does her like final English essay on, and it's the books that Christian Grey gives her like what is it? The original first edition of the books that are worth like 20 grand. That was like his first big gesture towards her in that book series. So
we cannot talk about 50 Shades of Grey right now. We cannot.
Speaking of book to movie adaptations, just kidding. I can't.
That is a whole other conversation that we can have a different time.
But
I have thoughts.
But some of the books that have been made into TV shows, they also tend to, what I don't like is that when they just make their own shit up. Instead of sticking, I'm like, you have a perfectly good story that millions of people have consumed, which is why it got ordered as a television show or movie in the first place. And you decide to just make your own stuff up? Like, I don't understand why.
That kills me. Honestly, absolutely kills me. And okay, we have to delve into this just a little bit because they were our formative years. We have to talk about Harry Potter a little bit.
Of course.
But let me clarify with a little statement. Fuck J.K. Rowling.
Yep.
She is a TERF, which is a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. They shouldn't even be able to call themselves feminists because they don't believe trans women are women. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Wild that she could have a wild imagination and yet is such a goddamn bigot. Interesting. Also, not to mention the veiled racism in the actual books and movies themselves. So let's call that out first. Now let me say, as someone who was very into Harry Potter, whoever did the movies from the books, your mom's a hoe, okay? Fuck you. Fuck you. Fucking, what the fuck? What book did you read?
I know, honestly, I need to know, because I know that there were, they had different directors for a few. They had a few. There were some, like Christopher Columbus did like the first two, and then Guillermo del Toro, I think maybe did like
David Yates.
Somebody, a couple of different directors did them.
Yeah, which is great. Totally
but
great.
I don't know if was it the same screenwriter for all of them? Because if it was, then that person needed to get fired after the first one.
I have no idea if it was the same screenwriter, but at the same time, it's also like, I need to know, I need to know what was going through your brain when you were like, okay, I'm just going to take the most egregious example that comes to my brain, which would be, I can't even remember what fucking movie it is. I want to say it's Goblet of Fire, but no, it's not. It's later because they didn't have stupid hair. I want to say it was Order of the Phoenix or right before. But basically, there's a whole scene, Half-Blood Prince. There was a scene where it's like they're at the burrow and it's like a cornfield situation. And at this point, watching the movie, I'm like, okay, it was Order of the Phoenix because that was my favorite book. So Order of the Phoenix was my favorite book, mostly because of the whole ministry scene where they get there and they have to go in the thing and then find all the stuff and like they find the prophecy. It was like super enthralling and like Accio Brain, like all of those bits were so good and like I was so excited.
I have a thing that in that book that they left out of the movies that made me whole ass angry because I was super excited to see it. Continue.
Yeah, but so not only because they like notoriously, especially for Order of the Phoenix, cut out so much stuff because it was a fairly big book. And yet had the fucking audacity in the middle of the fucking movie to add in just a random bit where Ginny leans down to like tie Harry's shoes. It was like supposed to be like a weird blowjob reference, which was fucked up. And then decided to like have Death Eaters attack the burrow, and then they had to go chase
set it on fire.
Set it on fire. They had to go chase them through. None of that happens. It can't happen. That's the whole point. That's why they're at the burrow. Because of the fucking warding and enchantments. And then you're just going to add the scene, no context, no explanation, just take away.
No, he just takes off out of the house because he sees something, and then Ginny runs after him, and then
this whole thing
adults
happens.
run after them. Yeah, and like...
And then it was like, okay, and now they disappeared and they set the burrow on fire. It was all like a warning. I was like, if the Death Eaters can be there, why don't they just kill them? You have added this scene that makes no sense, and also you have fucked up the continuity of everything and taken out so much. They get to the ministry. I screamed in the movie theater. They get to the ministry, and I was like, hell yeah, my favorite part, hell yeah. And then cut, they're in the Hall of Prophecy. I literally was like, what? Like, it didn't show anything, nothing about how they get to the Hall of Prophecy. And that was the coolest part.
The scene where they run out into the cornfield is actually in Half-Blood Prince. So that's when Harry and Ginny's relationship was starting to like become a thing.
So did that happen in the book in Half-Blood Prince, or did it happen in the movie? Okay,
it happened in the movie, but it was Half-Blood Prince.
Okay, still so the audacity.
Order of the Phoenix was, you've mentioned this too, and I like, it was the largest of all of them. Even the last novel, it's the Order of the Phoenix is the largest book. The movie has the shortest runtime.
Yeah.
What the actual fuck? My biggest issue with that particular book to movie is the fact that they left out the entire scene where they go to St. Mungo's, the hospital, and they see Neville's parents. They see Lockhart. That's when that whole thing comes about with like the weird plant thing that got dropped off to kill. Like, you left out so much important shit, and you deprived us of the opportunity to get to see a dope wizarding hospital. What the fuck?
Yes.
So mad.
Yeah. So anyway,
makes me almost as mad as I am about the fact that they just completely left Peeves out of the equation altogether.
Also, a travesty. Travesty. Yes. Why? That's your comedic relief. Why would you ever?
Nope.
They were like, hey, here's a free pass to have a ghost just like fuck all your shit up all the time. And they were like, nah, we'll pass.
Why? I hate it so much. What's the timer?
We have 7 minutes left.
Okay.
We're doing good. We're doing pretty good.
I'm proud of us.
But we should steer back away from Harry Potter because this is not just Harry Potter, but we did have to touch on it because mistakes were made, crimes were committed. We did need to talk about that.
Another book series. I know you haven't read it, but I sent it to you, and I really hope that you do finally read it. Was Hunger Games. This was my first mistake. I went into that movie theater so excited. That was when I decided that I was never going to do that again. Hunger Games tricked me. I should have learned my lesson with Harry Potter, but I think I was just so excited about Harry Potter because it took years to come out.
Yeah.
That you just forgot that you were going to get disappointed. So I went into Hunger Games like I had just read the novels, I think about 2 years before the movie got announced. So it was like very fresh still for me. And I was like really excited. I was like, yes, I love these books. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. I don't think I've ever been so angry walking out of a movie theater. Like, I took Izzy to go see it with me, and we went to this really tiny little like, it's not there anymore. It's like one of those, the last vestments of like private owned movie theaters that aren't Regal or, you know, whatever the other companies are. And the two of us walked, because we had both read the books and we're so excited. And me and my sibling Izzy walk out of there. And Izzy's the nicest, quietest, chillest, like sweetest person on the planet. They were big mad. Like, I've never seen them that mad before, and they were mad, and we just railed on it for like an hour in the parking lot because it was horrible. It's the same thing. It's Harry Potter all over again. They literally took these beautifully in-depth, well-explained, like a lot of exposition, a lot of context, and they just fucking threw it all out.
Yeah,
and then
I like it.
Also, Jennifer Lawrence was not a good choice to play Katniss.
I can't get into Jennifer Lawrence either. That's going to be another 30 minutes.
I mean, it's more just like that. She wasn't the right choice for her. That
she's the right choice for anything. She's rude. She's so rude.
Yeah. And then also the same thing, like the casting in general, other than the adults, it was all the kids. Like, Jennifer Lawrence wasn't great. The guy that they got, Josh Henderson, whatever his name, Josh Hutchinson. He was not great. I like him. I loved him in Zathura and Bridge to Terabithia. He was adorable in that. But like, he was not a good choice for Peeta. And then also the choice for Gale, like Liam Hemsworth. Liam Hemsworth is fucking gorgeous, and I will like die on that hill that he's one of the most beautiful people on the planet.
He is.
But he's not a good actor. I just
That's very
can't.
funny.
He's super nice to look at. I just don't think he's the best actor. Like I just
it's like me and no, what's his name?
Tell me something that they're in.
He was in Magic Mike.
Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum. He's beautiful, but they ain't nothing there. I'm sorry. The boy can't act to save his life, but he's beautiful.
I know. I actually whole agree. There are so many himbo actors.
He's the Scarlett Johansson of dudes.
Yes. Sorry. No, but really though, like so beautiful, but I can't. Whenever I look at them on screen, there's just nothing. They don't elicit any feelings from me.
Nothing behind the eyes. They're just pretty people. They can't act. They're pretty. But like the camera zooms in and it's like an emotional scene, zooms in on their face and they're like
dead eyes.
I'm like, what the fuck is this, Twilight? Like
Channing Tatum is in one of my least favorite book to movie adaptations, Dear John.
I will say, real quick, Channing Tatum does get points. Anytime he's playing a big dumb himbo, he's perfect. 21 Jump Street?
Yeah. I mean, Magic Mike too.
Magic Mike
too. I mean, come on. He's perfect. Yeah.
But if he's ever in a serious role, like Dear John, or what was that one where it's like this woman has to realize that she's been married to Channing Tatum.
Oh, The Vow.
Yes.
I can't.
Sorry, I can't.
He's supposed to be like his what? That's a book too. And it's based on a true story. But he's supposed to be trying to get his wife, who he's already in love with, madly in love with, to fall back in love with him. And I'm not in love with him. Like, I can't, like, the movie's supposed to make you also fall in love with him. Yeah. And it doesn't, like, at all. It bothers. I'm at the end, I'm like, girl, go be by yourself. Like,
you've been through some trauma. You need to heal. Go, like, figure out who you are without this dude. You don't know.
Because he kind of sucks. Like,
you don't even know if he's telling the truth. Fuck this guy. I'd be like, liar. No way I pick you.
Someone else that could have convinced me. Like an actor that had actual acting chops. Could have made that. It was just because he was blowing up and he's gorgeous.
He's pretty. And they were like, okay, here you go.
Rachel McAdams killed it. She killed it.
Rachel McAdams always kills it. Let's be clear.
I love her. People need to cast her more than they do Scarlett Johansson. Because she's beautiful.
And she can act. Man.
Guys, cast Rachel McAdams.
Cast Rachel McAdams and more stuff. Come on, look at her.
Less Scarlett Johansson, more Rachel McAdams.
I need a shirt that says that. Dear Hollywood.
Those are some book to movie adaptations that are really interesting. Nicholas Sparks books specifically, because we said Dear John. So
real quick, we have like 10 seconds. Let's do a wrap up.
This is my favorite thing that people have done now. Authors will write a book literally for a person. So the last song, this is my last thing. The last song, which is a Nicholas Sparks book and movie, it was reversed. He wrote the screenplay specifically because Miley Cyrus asked him to, and then turned that screenplay into a book, and the book is still better.
You have more time.
It was hilarious. But yeah, that movie was written specifically for Miley Cyrus by Nicholas Sparks. Then he took his own screenplay and made it better. That's a book. God. I know, it's crazy. Anyway, I'm excited for this next part. Is that a train noise?
It's a train.
Pretty sure we can put it into...
But this is funnier.
I can't hear it.
How can you not? Oh my God.
What the hell? You just blew out my ears with that.
You're welcome, Nova. Anyway. We'll probably put an actual sound effect, but I thought that was funny.
We're pulling into the Hyperfixation-Station.
All right, guys, we are pulling into our middle segment, which we have dubbed Hyperfixation-Station. Tagline. Working tagline right now is "Choo choo, motherfuckers. Let's get weird." And with that, it's basically one of us is going to talk about what we are hyperfixating on that week, and it's my turn. So we're gonna get witchy. Welcome to a 15-minute talk about tarot. I'm going to start my 15 minutes. Well, technically it's 20 minutes, but we're going to edit it to be 15. Magic. So, tarot. So I got into tarot mostly because I like the idea of introspective witchcraft. So witchcraft that basically asks you to look within yourself and add meaning to something else. I think that's very, even if you don't believe in magic, even if you don't believe in witchcraft or any of these supernatural things, dealing with a tarot deck asks you to pull a card and basically assign meaning. And that means whatever it needs to mean for you in that moment. And even if you don't believe it, it's still a way of basically self-therapizing. It's looking at a card and looking at yourself introspectively. And when you do that, a lot of times the card will roast you. And that's part of it. It's part of owning tarot cards. A lot of times you pull a card and it's like, hey, get your shit together. And you're like, damn, you're right. And that's a lot. Like, if you are very into tarot, you can, some people think that means their deck has a personality. That's just how they talk to them, or the spirit that's guiding them, whether it be an ancestor or a deity or anything like that, has a sense of humor. Or you can use it simply to pull it and see how it relates to your life and try to take that message with you throughout the day. Either way, whatever brand of tarot you practice is valid.
So they have, so each card already has like a meaning, and it's just you interpreting that meaning.
Essentially, we'll get into it.
Okay.
So here is my tarot deck. If you are watching our video, I'm holding up basically what looks to be a black cloth kind of wrapped around a box, which is what it is. So I use my grandfather's handkerchief. This is something that he used to carry in his pocket all the time. It means a lot to me. My grandfather passed away right before my wedding, which was really sad, but we have some stuff to remember him by. This was one of them. It used to be white, and I accidentally stained it in the wash, so I dyed it black. And then I'm using it to kind of wrap around my tarot cards to, have his spirit there with me. Like, I think that's really nice. But you don't have to have something like that to wrap your tarot cards in. I just choose to. The deck that I use, because I'm going to be showing it, I want to credit the artist. I hope that's chill. It's called the Fae and the Ferns. The Fae and the Ferns Tarot. It's by Samantha Sawyer. And she did the art and everything for them in the book that comes with it, which is lovely. Sometimes your tarot deck, and it should really, come with a little booklet. So it basically tells you what each card means. This one in particular, it doesn't have reversals in it. We'll go over that in a minute. But it just kind of has straight up and down the tarot meanings for each card. And then the art itself is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, if you can't see, if you're listening to us via audio, it's not pink, it's more of like a deep purple. The card that I drew off the top was Ace of Swords. So it's a single sword with the infinity symbol and a sun behind it. So while these are not the same depictions of the original tarot cards that you're used to seeing, so when someone talks about tarot, I'm sure you have a picture in your head of a card.
Yeah.
So that is the, oh wow, I can't remember the name of it. Rider Waite deck. Anyway, the original tarot deck, it's based off of those. The pictures are very important. They symbolize a lot of things. But through time, people have taken what the symbols are and what they mean and basically redrawn them in different ways to make it fun. Like this card. So it's got the one sword, because it's the Ace of Swords. And when you start like deciphering the card, you realize, so aces generally mean that you are like, either can be new beginnings because it's the first card of the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the ace. So it symbolizes a lot of power, new beginnings, a lot of, that's why the sun is back here as well. The reason it's pointing down, which is important, the sword is pointing down. Usually if you get it reversed, the sword's pointing up. You can infer that to mean that you need to be at the ready, or things like that. If it's pointed down, like it is on this card, you can infer that you can sheathe your sword for the moment. It's got the infinity symbol behind it, in kind of like, it looks like vines.
So pretty.
It's gorgeous. And the infinity symbol also is on the original card. So it's just translated a little differently. So still mean the same things, just different pretty pictures. And they still correspond to the original cards as well. They're also gold on the side.
Right? That is so freaking shiny and pretty.
Gorgeous.
I can't.
Check out her Etsy shop. She's amazing.
What is it, Samantha?
Samantha Sawyer.
Samantha Sawyer. Okay.
Sincerely Sam is the like brand, I think.
Sincerely Sam, I love that.
And she has like different variations too. So this is specifically the Fae and the Ferns. She's got one that is like the bone deck, which is great. It's all these different kinds of bones, and the sides are silver. They're gorgeous. Anyway, check them out. So what I'm going to start with, I think, is I'm going to talk about real quick. I ran through a lot in 1 minute. I got 14 minutes left. Sit, strap in. Okay. So let me start with what I do with tarot. Let's start there. What I do with tarot cards. Mm-hmm. So I would not call myself an expert. This is why it's Hyperfixation-Station. This is just something that I am currently hyperfixating on. I have read a couple books. I've read a good amount of random articles and sources, so I know kind of what I'm talking about. But I absolutely would not say I'm an expert. So if you don't agree with me or you think I'm wrong, maybe I am. That's fine. So here we go. How I kind of handle tarot. I take my cues from someone I actually found on TikTok. She goes by the Boring Witch or the Mundane Witch. And she is what she calls herself a spoony witch, which means that she uses spoons. She's chronically ill. She uses spoons to get through her day, which is what I do. Basically by saying, oh, I only have, you have a set amount of spoons today. Things that you do are going to cost energy. So when it comes to practicing your craft, it's hard to do if it's like, okay, take 3 sprigs of rosemary and this specific kind of salt and this specific thing, and you have to do this every day. You have to make sure you have these crystals. And then it becomes where you're just not practicing at all because it's too much. So she is a spoony witch. So it's basically her mantra is done witchcraft is better than no witchcraft. And so I follow that mantra pretty regularly because it's something that I want to do and something that I'm interested in, but I'm chronically ill. I often don't have the energy to do it. And the cards, the spirits, your deity, whoever you're working with understands that. That's the whole point. So what I do with tarot is I set out my tarot stuff every morning. I do like tarot and coffee. I drink my coffee. I may or not be smoking in the morning. But it's my time for myself to focus on me. I personally do use crystals. You do not have to. This is not something that you have to do, but I like them because they're shiny and pretty. Tell me no. They mean certain things. I have citrine here. I have tiger's eye. If you are witchy, you know what that means. We will get into that kind of stuff later. Or on a different hyperfixation station, because that's not today. I also have some quartz here for cleansing as well. That's the biggest one. So when you use your cards to read for other people, generally you want to cleanse them before and after, just so that your energy isn't in them and the person you're reading for's energy is not still in them as well the next time you use your deck. So I take the time to shuffle my deck. No, there's not a special way to shuffle. it's not like, okay, you have to do it a specific way. It's whatever way calls to you, whatever's the easiest way for you to shuffle. Some people like to take them all and do that thing you see where they're like kind of just doing it like this. Yes.
Yeah.
Some people like that. Some people prefer to, some people aren't good at that yet.
I saw Madam Adam doing like the way that you see like card sharks and poker people do it.
Yes. There's some people who do it that way. There's some people who literally spread the cards all out on like a table and just like mix them with their hands and then push them back together.
I'm chaotic energy like that.
That's totally fine. Whatever you need to do to make sure that the cards get a sufficient mixing, like it doesn't matter what you do, really. I like to set certain rituals that I do for myself, but it doesn't mean it's the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
I like to shuffle them, generally like just like a regular card shuffle. I will cut the deck into 3 stacks. Why 3 stacks? Because I feel like it. And then I like to take each stack individually and shuffle them together. Like just kind of give them a little mix as an individual stack. And then I put them back together however I feel. It's not like left and then right or right then left or the mid. Like whatever one I feel needs to go on top, that's the one that goes on top. A lot of doing tarot is following your intuition. It's intuition based. So assigning meaning from within. So if I'm looking at this and I just feel like I want to stack the right one on first, I stack the right one on first. You can assume that's your intuition. You can assume that's your deity giving you a message or a spirit giving you a message. You can assume anything you want with it, but you just do what you want to do. Some people think that when you're shuffling, if a card jumps out, like you're shuffling and it just pops, which happens. A lot of people think that it means that that's the card that you need to pick. So a lot of people will leave it out and use it in their reading as well because they think that it's important. You do not have to. You can be like, no, I just fucked up. Like put it back in the deck if you want. That's totally fine. And then, so what I do is I pull a card every morning and I kind of go over it. I ask myself 3 questions. And the first question generally is always, what do you see? So I pick up the card and it's, what do you see? So what's the imagery on the card? So I pulled one off of the front. This is the Knight of Wands. It's very cute. It's a little bumblebee.
Oh,
on a broom or on a wand.
That. Yeah.
That's sort of cute.
That's so pretty.
So generally your first thing is, what do you see? So regardless of like what the card is supposed to mean, what's on it? What's the imagery? Because that's what's important. It was drawn that way for a reason. Ask myself what's on it. Okay, I see the knight's helmet. I see that it's got a single wand. I see that it's got stars around it. Like just generally, what do you see? The next thing is, what do you know is the next question. So the next question, what do I know about knights? Knights generally mean, oh God, like watch me like fuck this up as I'm trying to talk about it. But knights generally mean like going into battle.
I was going to say, like, aren't they, in my head, because I know nothing about this, like when someone says like knights, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, well, they battle and there's bravery and valor and honor and that kind of stuff when you're a knight, loyalty.
Yes.
That kind of stuff comes to my mind. First thing that jumps out.
Exactly. So that's basically how it works, is talking about like, what do you know about knights? Knights are generally like getting ready for battle. Wands, what do wands mean? So wands generally represent passion and desire. So the Knight of Wands, I will assume, is fighting for love, fighting for your passion. That's my first thing that I'm thinking of. And I want to make sure I make note of that. Because I do keep a notebook.
Keep a record of it. I love that.
Because I have ADHD and I forget.
I love that though.
But it's also important to be able to kind of go back and see what your readings were, see if it played out like you thought it was going to, and things like that. So I write down what I think, like, what do I know about it specifically? And the last question I ask myself is, what do you feel? And that's the most important part of tarot. It's, what do I feel this is trying to tell me? And that's where some people think reversals come in. So reversals are contested. Not a lot of people believe in the reversal version of the card. what some people think it means is this side, if it's facing up, it means that whatever energy this card possesses is open and flowing free. If it is reversed, it means that whatever energy this card possesses is blocked, and you need to worry about it or think about it or try to like open yourself up to it. I personally have not found that to be entirely true. I don't think that getting a reversed card is necessarily a negative, because a lot of people see it as a negative. So like this card, fighting for love, and it sounds like it means a lot of good things. And then turning it reversed, I think that they would have me think that it means that like I shouldn't fight or I should give up. And I just don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that it means what you think it means. I think I've read some witches in particular think that it means an overflowing of energy. Maybe it's more than enough. Maybe it just means that you need to ask questions. Maybe it means that you need to pull another card, and get clarification. Like that's absolutely something that you can do. But in any case, whatever you decide reversals mean to you, that's what they mean. If you are holding on to a card and it's a what should be quote unquote bad card, I'll take one of my favorite examples here. Sorry, one of my card I just pulled, and of course I did. This fucking deck likes to roast me on the fucking daily. Hold on. Let me Death. So this is the death card.
I love that card. It's pretty.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's so gorgeous. I've been thinking about getting that as a tattoo, like the
skull,
like the skull. That, but like a deer or stag skull, particularly.
Yeah. So this card, for those who aren't watching our video, it's got kind of what looks to be a deer skull. It's got the antlers. It's got flowers and mushrooms kind of growing out of it, flowers growing out of it. And what I take this to mean, and what I've always taken the death card to mean, is in death there is life.
That's exactly what I was thinking. In my head, I'm like, yes. That looks like it means like, yes, there's death, but there's growth and life coming out of that death.
Yes. I have never been freaked out by the death card. There are some people who get the death or the tower card and think that that means ominous.
Bad.
It's bad. And I've never pulled the death card and something bad has happened. Anytime the death card for me has been pulled, it usually means that something is dying to make room for something else. And I find that good. I find that exciting. Yeah. I think that it's important to have things that are no longer serve you die so that they can make room for things that do. The tower card is another one that a lot of people tend to associate with badness. It generally means that something that you built is coming down. And while, yes, that can be scary, that's especially if something that you've built is like your business or you think that it's a creative project that you've built and it's now coming tumbling down. I personally, again, don't see the tower card as a bad thing. I see the tower card as a shakeup, as a change, as, yes, the tower is going to come, something's going to come tumbling down, but what I can build from that is going to be even better. And so I personally don't tend to find negative meanings when I am pulling my cards. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's them telling me to like fucking stop. And like, that's fine. Aha, here it is. The tower.
It's a unicorn.
It's a unicorn with a broken horn. There's the all-seeing eye at the top here. There's what appears to be lightning coming down, breaking. The unicorn seems to be crying. Like, it seems to be a bad card, but the more I look at it, every time I've drawn it, it generally doesn't mean anything ominous to me. It means things are changing, and that's okay. And as someone who likes routine and is very comfortable in routine, sometimes that's something that I need, and it's going to be painful, but it's important that it changes. And I think that's important. So after kind of going, I have a little bit of time left here. So what I thought I would do is give you a reading.
Yes, please.
So
you have to like quartz it or whatever.
It's, just kind of put it on top for a little while. But I'm going to leave that for just 1 second while I talk really quickly about pulls. So there's different kinds of pulls. There's the 3-card pull that you see on TikTok usually. Madam Adam does it. A lot of other tarot readers do it. It's a very easy one. What it means is past, present, future. Usually the first card is kind of something that you've been going through, something you've been dealing with. The present card is something that you're currently dealing with. And your future card is something, either something you need to take forward, something you need to know about the future, or I very rarely use it to predict the future because that can always change. Your actions can always affect it. So I generally like to say that the future card is a recommendation. So the other way to pull, which is like what I do in the mornings, is just a single card tarot pull. I just shuffle, pull in the morning, and I write it down and think about what that means to me, and kind of go from there.
What was yours today?
So I did not pull this morning because I didn't have time, but yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. What's your most recent?
Mm-hmm. So really quick, this is fun. So we had a meeting with our lawyer. Kind of going forward about Novi and the business and things like that. It was a big meeting. So I had to pull late that day, and I had to pull like literally right before we met with them. So the card I pulled was the Ace of Pentacles. So what did I see? A pentacle made of sticks with nature growing out of it, the infinity symbol. And since it showed up reversed, it looked like it was falling up. So the card itself looks like the star is falling down. Since I pulled it reversed, I took that to look like the star was falling upwards, like it was taking off.
Cool.
So what do you know? Pentacles generally mean health, finances, or work. And aces, new beginnings and success.
Yo, that's wild that you pulled that before our meeting with the lawyer.
Right.
Our lawyer happens to also be my family, but like...
Yeah, but 5 minutes before. So what I took that to mean was good things, obviously. Like, falling upwards, success. Pentacles are usually my card. Sometimes you'll find a card that you either feel a strong connection with or something that you feel like shows up a lot. For me, it's Pentacles, specifically the Queen of Pentacles. So it's my favorite card in my deck, period. And because it's beautiful. I also pull it a lot. I don't mean to. I also just generally pull a lot of Pentacles. Some people find they pull a lot of Cups. It seems to me, I feel like it's trying to tell me something. So I generally try to listen. Pentacles seem pretty lucky for me whenever I get Pentacles. So I like to see them.
That's wild that's what you got before our meeting with Cooper. That's so cool. I love that. I love that for us. I'm currently shuffling cards. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit more. There are different pulls you can do. Some of them are talking with, I think it's called the cross. Celtic cross is the other one. That's like a 8-card pull. They get, there's like a 28 card layout that I'm like not comfortable doing. I was looking at Madam Adams, like the types of readings that they do, and I saw there's the 3, there's like a 5, there's a 7, there's like a full on one where you want to know everything about your life. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah. So which one would you prefer?
I kind of like the 3 just because that's what I love when Madam Adam does that. Yeah.
It's fair.
That's our favorite. That's my favorite tarot TikToker, Madam Adam. We love a Madam Adam. Fuck it up.
You do.
Unclench your jaw. I watched them literally. I was watching them like 15 minutes before we started recording, and it was like a specific one where I love when they do the like. Repeat after me. I am capable. I am a success. I'm a bad bitch. Like, I fucking love that. I am enough. I love that one.
Okay. So while we're doing this, I need you to think about yourself. Think about not necessarily a question. If you have a specific question, go ahead and hold it in your brain. If you just want general knowledge, think about that too. But I need you to kind of focus. I know it's hard.
For me, yes. Okay.
Okay, so I'm shuffling now with intention, thinking about Nicole Now, I don't know her question, but I'm just thinking about Nicole, what I know about her, envisioning her as a person, how she's my best friend. I love her. Things like that. No. Okay, so I'm going to pull 3 cards. I'm going to keep them face down until I get to them. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, first card I pulled for you. So this is your past card. 2 of Cups. So, what do you see? We see 2 cups with 2 birds in it.
Fucking birds.
Fucking birds.
They're cute birds, though.
So the number 2 in tarot generally means couplings, pairs, couples, love. Cups also generally refers to love. Cups. Yep, range of emotions we feel, your intuition and your creative and psychic energy. So basically, your inner self is what cups represent. I'm just going to go through meanings and stuff, and then I'll go back. So that's what we see. What we know what two generally stands for. We know what cups generally stand for. So on a first look at this, I would say you've had like a good relationship, you've had like a lovely, I would feel like this kind of refers to you and Nova, like having a nice, lovely 2 of you relationship. Okay, and middle card. 2 of Pentacles. So again, 2 generally means coupling, means love. I pulled this reversed.
It's a bunny!
So the pentacles are always bunnies. It's very cute. Cups are always birds in this deck. Cups are always birds. Pentacles are always bunnies. It's cute. So it's 2 pentacles.
It does look like they're falling down up. Like, I love that. Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
Pulling it reversed could easily mean that. Pentacles generally refer to hearth and home, finances, taking care of what needs to be taken care of. 2 generally means love. So, or couplings. I would think that this means that you are taking care of each other. This is your present, focusing on kind of taking care of each other. This all feels very love based, so I'm kind of leaning there. Kind of taking care of each other, being there for each other. And I feel like it's reversed because that it could possibly be that you have an overflowing amount of love for each other, or possibly that it's not being tested necessarily, but you're needing to use it right now, and that's okay. That's why you have each other. Final card, which is the future. Ooh. Ace of Wands. Straight off Ace of Wands, and I have chills. I know what this means, but I'm going to look it up anyway just to make sure. So again, we talked about aces being the first card. Power generally flows along with aces. When it comes to wands, wands are your passion and desire under the element of fire. So basically, going forward, you have power in love, power in your desires, power in your relationships and your couplings. I feel like going from 2 to 1, like this is about you and your future and you having power in your own love, your own sexuality, your own whatever you choose, but your own passions and desires are your own. And you have power in it. Ace of Wands to me means that you have power in whatever that is. So I'm not sure if you held a love question in your mind, but those were all definitely love-based.
Am I allowed to tell you? Like,
you
what
can. You don't have to, but you are.
Yeah, no, but literally, when you said I want you to focus on something, like it could be anything, it could be whatever. Like the first thing that came to my mind was like, that like Nova and I are going through all of this stuff as a couple. This new stuff that's coming up, the trans journey, and we're going through couples therapy and working out issues that we've had in the past, and like just trying to be better together because all this. And literally in my head, when you said to focus on something, I was like, I want nothing more than for all of this stuff with me and Nova to be good and like. And for it to all like work out and everyone stays good and happy and like everyone, the 2 of us are committed to each other and like everything's going to work out and be okay. Like that's what happened. I was like, oh, this is wild. I love
That's
it.
awesome. And then I ended up pulling two and one, all three cards relating to love and power in it. And I think that's fucking awesome. See, this is the kind of shit I love.
So cool. I love that too.
Awesome. And now that I'm done, I put my cards back, I put my crystals away, I wrap my cards right back up in this. I put my crystals on top generally because it's got my quartz in it. And so that will help cleanse it. I will also most likely use it to cleanse later before I pull another card for myself. But yeah, so that's generally tarot. I'm getting very into it. I'm getting very into other witchy stuff, and I'm sure next time I have my own, definitely took more than 20 minutes, time, I'm sure that I will talk more about kind of witchy shit.
Can anyone get into it, is my question.
Yes. So tarot is not a closed practice. I will say right now there are things that are closed practices, like hoodoo is one of them. That's not something that you can just pick up and do because that's not your shit.
Yeah.
Generally don't. You can learn about it. You can whatever. You can do your own research about it. That's totally fine. Learn from people who are actually doing it, who are part of that. You can't do it though. You can inform, but you cannot appropriate. That's one of them. Tarot is not a closed practice. Tarot is something that's existed for a very long time. People use it for different things. Sometimes they use it to predict futures. Sometimes they use it to answer a question. Sometimes it's tell me about this thing and you want to predict it. Sometimes it's just, hey, what do my spirit guides have to tell me today? Which is what I do. I pull a card and I'm like, what does the universe want me to know today? Sometimes I think about a specific question. I think before our meeting with the lawyer, I was thinking pretty heavily about work stuff. And I think that's why I pulled the Ace of Pentacles. Things like that. So you can obviously be roasted. There was one time I was asking a question that I probably shouldn't have been asking, but I did anyway. And it gave me the Death card. Then I pulled the Tower card. And then I pulled another one that was basically you're looking for questions that shouldn't be answered. And I was like,
okay then. Well, fuck.
Okay. Fine, I will stop. What are the fucking chances? I shuffled and shuffled and shuffled and it was Death, Tower. Hey, get your fucking nose out of other people's business. Maybe you don't belong here. And I was like, okay, well, fuck, fine. I guess I don't belong here. And then I stopped. And I wasn't asking a question that I thought was invasive or weird, but my cards were
nope.
Back up. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Sometimes you gotta listen. But yeah, so anyone can practice tarot. I recommend there's a book by, I can't remember the name of the author, but it's called The Modern Tarot. It's a blue cover. It's very pretty. This is the one that I don't recommend it. How to Read Tarot Modern Guide. It's fine. It will give you the basics. However, it talks about reversals in a very negative way. It goes over, it's basically if you, all of this lovely, wonderful stuff if you pull this card, but if it's reversed, danger. And it's I don't subscribe to that. Yeah, I don't know.
What's the one that you said you recommended though?
It's called The Modern Tarot by Michelle T. Last name is T-E-A, like the tea you drink.
I love that.
Yes, and she's lovely too. I don't think any tarot book is going to be perfect 100% because that's the point. Tarot for everybody is different. It's whatever you subscribe to the cards. You add that meaning, you subscribe that to them, you decide what that means. I pulled for the week, this coming week, and I pulled the Queen of Pentacles. For just as my question of what do I know for the week? Queen of Pentacles is my fucking card. That's my shit. And so I pulled her and I was like, oh, okay. And what that basically means is you are in charge of your hearth and your home. You are taking control of this. Pentacles stand for finances, work, home, whatever your business is, that's your business. And then the Queen card obviously is master of your domain. It's also nurturing, inviting. So it was you're going to take on this week in a dope ass way, but you're also going to be nurturing. You're not going to lose your soft side, and you have to keep your soft side is kind of what I get from that. I also draw a lot of cards about balance. Who knew? Shocking. I get cards all the time. They're like, balance your life. And I'm like, I'm fucking trying. But
I love that.
So yeah, anyone can practice tarot. Just kind of do your research, pull your cards, let the cards talk to you, assign your meanings to them. If it's a negative meaning, don't put too much weight in that. I feel like that's a good thing. Thank you for coming to Hyperfixation-Station. We are now pulling out of the gate. Any last questions?
No, that was awesome.
Okay, awesome. Choo-choo, let's go. On to the next topic.
So I think the next topic was, our last episode was all about Dragon Age Origins. That's specifically. Right. And we had our lovely best friend Erin on, who we absolutely adore. And we're going to definitely have another Dilly and Dally when I finish Dragon Age, the series, with Erin. Maybe we'll even bring in Lex, because we are the sorority.
It's true.
The Dragon Age sorority. But I just finished Dragon Age 2. I know Emily watched my stream, so that's how I play it. I play it on Twitch on stream. And was like, wild that you chose these things. Like, was shocked at some of my choices. The choices that you can make, because you and I have talked about this, that game railroads you no matter what you say or do. Except for that particular thing, me choosing, I romanced Anders.
So first of all, spoiler for Dragon Age 2, if anyone's played it, we are going to be talking about, we will not be talking about 3, because Nicole has not played it. We will be talking about 2 and 1. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, haven't caught up with Nicole, go ahead and skip ahead. Yeah.
So in the game, in my Dragon Age 2 game, I romanced Anders. You can tell early on that some shit's going to go down with him. I did not know to what scale it would go down. Like, I was not expecting him to go full Cersei Lannister and blow up the fucking church. Like, what the fuck? You should watch the stream for anyone listening, because my face was like,
so funny.
What the fuck is happening?
And really quick, I want to just take everyone back to one time Nicole said to me, Anders would never lie to me. Anyway, moving on. Because I know Anders would never lie to me. I was like, okay.
I said it because, like, when I was playing Awakening, when you first meet Anders, I was like, yeah, he's got some, like, sketchy shit going on with him. Like, that weird thing with wanting to destroy his phylactery. And, like, he says a bunch of shit that makes you like, whose side are you on, a couple of times? But then he's so cute and cuddly, and he loves kittens and, like, sweaters, and, like, I was like, I love him. He's so sweet. He would never do me wrong. Well, motherfucker asked me to do some stuff to help him. Said it was a ritual to help get him justice and him separated. And I was like, sure, that's a good idea. Cause, like, you go crazy when justice comes out and it's not good. So let's do that. So I helped them. Then that was it. There's no context. You just finish that quest and that's it. Until you get to the end, the very last quest, the last straw, it's called, very fitting. And then out of nowhere, he just comes up and he's like, there can be no peace, so I'm gonna do this, and we're like, Anders, what did you do? And all of a sudden, things start rumbling and shaking, and then this big crazy red light bursts out of the chantry, and boom, gone. Literally happened the same thing that happened in Game of Thrones. Like, honestly, like I'm pretty sure the book came first. Before that book came out, before Dragon Age. So, like, I'm wondering how much they were in, because that's not the first Game of Thronesy shit that's happened that I'm like, I wonder if Dragon Age writers are like very into Game of Thrones and they're like heavily influenced by it, because those books were written decades ago. That's why people are so mad that George R.R. Martin is taking like 30 years to write the next one.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, we're done with that conversation. Emily's shocked face, because she's already knows that this was going to happen. So my shocked face was that this was happening. Emily's shocked face was that I chose to spare Anders' life.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I honestly don't. In my head, yes, what he did was horrible. I'm not justified. There is no justification. But in my head, my character I've been playing that character the entire game as very like, I kept choosing the sarcastic, like bitchy, sassy option or the shitty option. I was playing her very much like a rogue. Like she was an asshole. Just total asshole that all she wanted to do was make money and make a name for herself, and that's all she cared about. Like power and money and all that stuff. Like that's how I was playing her. And Anders was my dude. I said I love you. So like in my head I'm like, I would not run out on Anders and kill him. I just wouldn't do it. Can I really quick? So when I played through 2, and I need you to know this, I played through 2 and I romanced Anders. It was my very first playthrough. I got to that part. He destroys the chantry. I helped him do it and everything. And I realized what happened. Like he lied to me and got me to do this for him. And so I basically blew up the chantry with him and I had no idea. And I again had romanced Anders. This is my babe. Because I was fresh off Alistair too. So I was like expecting it. So we get to that point, chantry explodes. And it was like, I lost my whole shit. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You asshole. I was like, that's it. You are dead to me. You are fucking dead to me. And I think part of it is that I played a mage. And so throughout the game, you're fighting for mages because it feels, especially if you're playing a mage, because the whole thing is so heavily focused on mage versus Templar.
Yeah.
I played so heavily into the mage part, and all of my choices the whole game were like, mages are not that bad. Like, y'all need to stop. Like, not all mages are like blood magic users.
Blows up the church and fucks over all the other mages.
I was like, you fucking murderer. I was like, that's it. We're fucking done. And it was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, kill him. I had not even a second. And I kill him. And I still felt, I didn't feel like that. I was like, that's not enough. Like, can I kick the body? Like, that's not enough for me. And I got so angry. I was like, no, this is not how this shit goes down. And I deleted the game and started over. Right then.
You didn't even finish it.
I didn't.
Because there's more shit that happens after that.
Yeah. I said, fuck that. I was like, this isn't how this goes down. I don't get played like that. And I started over. I was like, this isn't going to be my run. This cannot be my run, my official run of Dragon Age 2, where I get played by this fucking asshole. This ginger dickhead does not play me this game. I thought he was fucking asshole with a ghost in his brain does not play me. So I logged out and I restarted and I tried to romance. Meryl for a second, and I was like, God, I hate you so much, so I couldn't do that. And then I wanted to romance Fenris because I was like, you hot, but I was a mage and I had to pick all of the mean mage options, and I can't do that either, so that didn't work.
I did that,
and so I eventually just ended up romancing Isabella because, duh.
Yeah, I mean,
but like. That's like, for me, the biggest struggle of Dragon Age 2 was finding someone who didn't suck enough to, like, romance. And even Isabella has her moments of being a dick. So, like, there's no good romance options in 2. There's just
Can you romance Varric?
No. I wish you could romance Varric. I would be all over Varric. But no, you cannot romance him.
Interesting. Because he's, like, the storyteller. Yeah. I get that. Okay. So.
Anyway.
So in my official stream game, because I did, after I finished, I started a new game to kill time. I was bored doing nothing else was going on in my life. And I played a mage because I've never started out as a mage. In any of the Origin games I've played since I started playing, or in Dragon Age 2, like I did the rogue. I fucking get it. It's so fucking fun.
You have to do a mage in 3. You have to, because it makes it interesting. It's so interesting.
I honestly think I might. But at the same time, from Origin to 2 and going into 3, like every character that I've chosen has been a fighter. So I kind of wanted to keep it along.
Well, you did fighter and then rogue, I thought.
Well, yeah, I did warrior and then rogue. But they both can fight.
Well, yeah, like, but going from warrior to rogue to
I should do that. I should do that, actually. That makes more sense, doing each of the different classes. Yeah. I like that. I'm going to do it.
I like that. Okay, so we have about 20 minutes left in this conversation, so I want to ask you some questions that we can come back to later.
Yes.
So you have not played through 3. You have gotten to the end of 2.
I don't know. And I want to preface this, like, I don't know anything about it. Like, I know the game's been out for a really long time. I have heard the name Dragon Age, never saw any trailers, never nothing. I know nothing about this game except that it's open world and it's called Inquisition. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of cool shit. Obviously, I'm not going to go into that, but I do want to ask some questions so that later when Nicole finishes Dragon Age 3, we can come back to these answers. And I think that's going to be funny.
Yes.
So my question, let's start with, so Dragon Age 2 kind of focuses pretty heavily on Templars versus mages. It doesn't really give you, it's like basically if you try to stick with mages the whole time, the mages kind of burn you. Anders destroys the chantry, Orsino turns into a blood mage, and that doesn't change. If you side with Meredith, she goes crazy with the idol, and then you still have to fight Orsino as a blood mage. Like, it doesn't matter. You either way have to fight. It sucks. Yeah. But basically what ends up happening in the game is that even if you choose Templars or mages, there's really not a right answer. No. It's a lot of fucked up shit. So here's my question. Whose side are you on?
In my stream game, I am on... through the choices that I made, or are you asking me personally?
I'm asking you personally. This is just your thoughts on the game, the franchise itself. Well, whose side are you on? Templars or mages?
I feel like I personally am on the side of the mages because, I get the whole, in both games, they have the same, it's always the same person too. Cullen loves that argument where he's like, well, you can't be too careful because they could all be blood mages, but because you can't tell if they've been possessed, so just kill them all, that kind of thing. He reins it back a little bit into, from what he says in 1, in Origins to you right before you head up to the thing with Wynn. What he full on says, kill them all, that you have no idea if they're all possessed or not, fucking kill them all. In 2, when Meredith starts saying that shit and starts going crazy, Cullen walks it back and he's like, that's not what I thought we were going to do. I thought we were going to give some of them the benefit of the doubt. They're not all bad. It's okay. So it's interesting that they walked him back a little bit in 2.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
But so you've heard that argument a lot in both games where it's you can't trust any of them because you can't tell if any of them are possessed or could become blood mages. So fuck them all. On the other side, you've got the mages. They're well, you shouldn't punish us for the actions of some of them, which I totally get. That's so true. Just because some of them are assholes doesn't mean all of them are assholes.
Yeah.
Then there's the argument but being a mage inherently makes you susceptible to the demon possession thing because you're connected to the Fade, right? As a mage. And the Fade is where they're not all bad spirits. Justice wasn't a bad spirit until fucking Anders and him did that whole thing. But in Awakening, Justice literally is he's helping you fight for good, for justice. wasn't until Anders' fucking broody ass got a hold of him that he turned into a bad guy.
Well, I think it's a commentary on what is justice.
Yeah. So, like, while I do understand both sides of the argument in the game, I tend to lean more towards the mages because they're very much being persecuted for shit that they didn't do. For, like... it's like allegorical to so many things in real life. Mm-hmm. It's like the same thing with like people hating Muslims for no fucking reason, just because there's some terrorists that happen to also believe in the same religion. Like, we hate all of them. No, fuck that. And then like you can use that. They've used that allegory for like the Mages Templars, and it could literally be construed into a bunch of different things in real life, absolutely. Which is interesting. But I do lean more towards the mages, I think, because they're the ones that are hardcore being persecuted. They're the ones that don't have the power, where, like, as the Templars have the backing of, like, the Chantry, which is, like, pretty much, besides the kings and queens, they're the ruling... You know, and they're the rulers of the land. Yeah, and what you learn in 2 in particular is a lot about lyrium, and in particular how they're giving lyrium to Templars so that they can control the mages, so that they have a little bit of just enough magic that they can do it, but also it becomes they're addicted to it. So they have to have lyrium. They mentioned that a little bit in 1. Yeah, they mention a little bit in 1. 2, they delve into it a little bit more. But it's honestly like it became like a back alley street drug, because like if they can't get it, because the Chantry can withhold the lyrium to control the Templars. So at the end of the day, the Chantry is really the one that controls everything, which is why Anders blew up the Chantry. Yeah. I also find it really interesting that like because the only place you can get lyrium is underground, the dwarves are the ones that mine all of it, especially because they can't be affected by magic like that, so that's why they're able to do it. But then that also means that the Chantry is subjugating the dwarves. Yes, it does. And like basically making them slaves and slave labor and all that shit to get that lyrium, and they're not allowed to have any of like the profit from it, or like they suffer for it. It's ridiculous. Like I hate that shit. I will say they delve into that a little bit more in 3, but yeah, absolutely. Like you start to be like, okay, well, if the Chantry is controlling the Templars with the lyrium, so the lyrium is really like the big thing here, and dwarves are the only ones that can mine it. Who is getting, like, where are they getting the lyrium from? And then that becomes a whole thing. Like, you'll see, it's great. But legitimately, like, that's something that they kind of like try to sprinkle throughout 1 and 2, so that you start asking those kinds of questions. So moving on, second question. Okay. So in 1, we had the Darkspawn with at the very end, you had to fight the big old dragon. And then in 2, the big bad evil guy, is technically, either Knight Commander Meredith or Orsino. It's kind of both of them. I feel like there's multiple because of the axe. The axe in particular. But so there's 3 different stages of 2, so there's different evil people. But at the very end, like the big bad evil guy that you end up fighting is Knight Commander Meredith. Even if you side with her, she still does that, and you still have to kill her. So either way, you're like, I side with you. Crazy you have to kill satisfaction out of, because I fucking hated her. Although she had a dope crown thing that I loved. So here is where I want you to make your prediction. Who do you think is going to be the big bad evil guy of 3? I think... and I will say, not a spoiler, you can make at least an assumption based on what you know. Yeah, so based on what I know from the ending of how it ended in 2, I kind of got the impression that like the person who had been questioning Varric that entire time And then you see Liliana, you meet up with Liliana in the actual game, and then you see her talk to the person who was questioning Varric at the very end, and they kept calling them Seekers, and they have that weird eye thing, like, and from what I know of what Liliana got up to, I'm guessing there's some kind of, like, secret, not necessarily secret, but there's, like, some kind of, like, CIA for the fucking Chantry, like, and they're called the Seekers, and because, like, you've got the Templars, who are clearly they're like, that's the Chantry's, like, knights, but they're more, their purpose is more just keeping, they're, like, bodyguards / like, security for the mages. These people, the Seekers, I feel like, are, like, the actual agents for the Chantry that are, like, they probably go in and fucking assassinate people and shit. Like,
So you think that basically Liliana is going to be your big bad evil guy?
I don't know specifically Liliana, but I think that maybe,
organization,
like, maybe. And then there's I hope we get to meet Divine whatever Justina, because you've heard about her a couple of times now. The Divine. She's like the ultimate revered mother, right? Because every Chantry has a revered mother, but she's like the
she is the divine
mother.
Yes, she is over all of them. She's like the Pope.
And then I feel like it's gonna have something to do with Orlais, like Orlais being like the enemy, because like when you meet up, something Alistair says. And they mention it a lot because Ferelden used to be occupied by Orlais. They used to, and then Logain and Merrick fought against them and kicked them out. And that's why, like, Merrick was all like, Kaelin was all like, well, we're going to make a deal with Orlais and they're going to come and help us. And Logain was like, you're a fucking idiot. They hate us. Like, that was like the thing that I think set Logain off and one of the reasons why he did what he did. But so I feel, and Liliana's from Orlais, Divine Justina's in Orlais, the whole,
I think it's Justinia.
Justinia. The whole, like, the head of the Chantry shit is in Orlais, and that's who's kind of like now fucking around. Now that we know that they're asking questions about what happened in Kirkwall, and now Kirkwall has kicked off what I'm assuming is going to be why it's called Inquisition, is like, I'm probably going to be going around, like, finding out information about different Mage Templar things or, like, fights or whatever. I don't know if they're going to circle back to, like, stuff that happened in Awakening with, like, the whole architect stuff and, like, the Darkspawn that can talk. And then Corpheus, or whatever the hell, however, Corypheus, like, that guy in the DLC. Because that's another, like, he was, that thing when that happens, like, he was literally there. Like, that whole thing that you think is just a story that they tell you about how the Blights and all that shit started.
The Black City.
That's literally real. They were like, they told us it would be golden. Like, that actually happened because that dude was there and he was talking about it, which is
he
wild.
Says one line that shook me so good. He said something like, I have seen the throne and it is empty.
Yeah.
I was I'm gonna throw up. Like, I have literal chills right now just thinking about it. Like, I remember fighting him and him saying that, and him talking about the Black City and how you were told that it's built with, like, decorated in gold, and there's these gods that the Maker is there. It's like, I've seen the seat of the Maker and it is empty.
Yeah, that was fucking
not here.
Dope. I know, it was dope. I also think that the stuff with the Kunari is not necessarily finished.
That's valid.
Like, that shit went down hardcore, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like we haven't seen the last of the Kunari for sure, that they're not going to take what happened in Kirkwall very well. So that's probably... Is there one specific big bad evil thing, or is it kind of similar to 2, where there's like a few And it depends, not acts, but like it's not just one specific thing. It's a couple of things that are coming at you from all different directions.
I wouldn't say all different directions, but I would say there's more than one overarching big bad evil guy.
Okay, what's your any other questions?
So my next question, we have about 5 minutes left. So next question. I want to know, is there anywhere that you are hoping to go in 3? Like any places that you're like, because I'll say you get to go to some places that you've heard of but never seen. So where are you hoping to go?
Definitely Orlais.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go to Antiva. I'm trying to think of some places that they've mentioned. So Tevinter, the Tevinter Imperium you keep hearing about, especially in 2 with like being Fenris, having Fenris as a companion. You hear way more about Tevinter than you did in the first one. Like it only pops up here and there. Where are the Kunari from?
The Kunari are
Paul Valan? No. That's a word they say. No, I can't remember what they're called. Fuck.
No, you're thinking that's Valrio. That's the capital of
Orlais. No, it's not. Parvalan is something that they say. I'm trying to remember words that they say.
I know. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Tal Vashoth. That's like the people that turn away from their role and they get like outcasted and I had to kill them.
Yeah. Really seen. That's right.
I can't remember what it's called.
They're on the other side of the Waking Sea.
I know that Zevran at the end of Origins, right before you go out to the cutscene, to the final. What is it called?
They govern the islands of Parvalan and
Parvalan. I said that. Yay!
And Saharan is the other one.
Saharan. Okay, yeah. So I was like Parvalan. I think I remember that name. Because that's what Zevran at the end of my Origins game. Zevran said something like, maybe I'll go to, because he was like, the crows are still going to hunt me. Like, that's not going to stop. Mm-hmm. So, like, I shouldn't stay in one place for too long. Maybe I'll go to this place or this place or this place. Mm-hmm. And one of them was Parvalan. Mm-hmm. And then Sten, if you complete his sword quest, he's allowed to return. And he says, I will return to Parvalan.
Yeah. Yeah, I would that's like across the Waking Sea. Mm-hmm.
So Parvalan, Orlais, Tevinter, they mentioned Starkhaven was one of them that you didn't actually get to go to. That I feel like they played up Sebastian and Starkhaven a lot, and that maybe that because it's open world, maybe you get to go to what's the Hinterlands?
The Hinterlands?
Yeah, what's that? I remember hearing that Hinterlands a lot, but I don't know if that is that like an actual place or
it is a place.
Okay. And it's not so Ferelden is what? Ferelden are the Neanderthals?
So there's Ferelden, which is basically like one side. You actually get to see I will slight spoiler. In 3 you get to see like a map. So like it helps. But there's Ferelden is like this side. Orlais is the other side of it. Gotcha. And there's different cities within them.
They're on the other side.
But those are the big names.
They're on the other side. Orlais's on the other side of like the Frostback Mountains and all that stuff. Okay.
And then if you go to the other side of the Waking Sea, that's where Antiva, Pombalan is, all of like where the Kunari are. That's where they are because the Antivans and the Kunari have been in a war forever.
Oh, okay. So then is the Waking Sea where what Amaranthine was like the coast of? Or is that on the other side?
Yes. I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't come for me, Dragon Age fandom. But I will say you named a couple places that you actually do get to go. So I'm not going to tell you which ones, but...
I'm hoping that... Because I liked the little cameos that the...
That was going to be my last question.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Who are you hoping to see in 3? So there were pop-ups in 2 of some characters. Who do you want to see come back in 3?
Alistair, obviously. But you can't romance him because I can't romance him because he's in love with my warden from Origin. So that's not fun for me.
But still.
I hope I get to see Isabella again because I kind of want to punch her in the face for like running off with the idol and like then I want to fuck her again.
Valid.
But especially because it's a new character, so like it doesn't have anything to do with my other one. It would be interesting to run into Hawk, like my Hawk. I think that would be interesting to see Anders and what that, because the way Varric says it, that when they're like, just tell me, is the champion dead? And they're like, oh, I don't think so. I doubt that. Like, I thought that was interesting. So it'd be cool to like run into my Hawk and Anders because they're definitely together. I hope I see Varric again because Varric was the best part about
She's so good
too. He's so funny. I guess like just any of the Origins characters too, like it would be nice to see, even if you can't play as them or anything, but like it was cute that you got like the pop-ups of like Liliana, Alistair, Zevran. It'd be fun to see Ogren again. I don't remember if he died in my Awakening game. Or if you just don't know that he did or not. Nathaniel Howe, he was like popped up into, you had to go rescue him in the deep roads. So that'd be interesting. Fenris too. I hope he's something that's like there's just like all the ones I really loved in both games. I hope I can see again. Do you get a dog again? Does you just always get a dog? Is that just like a thing?
In 3? Do you get a dog in 2?
Yeah. Your family, and you can, that's always, right. No matter what type you pick, you always have that summon family dog thing slot.
I don't think you get a dog in 3.
That's so fucked up!
But maybe you can and I just didn't, or maybe I don't remember it because I didn't even remember the dog from 2, so.
Yeah, because like, I only used it a few times, but like, yeah, you have a dog.
Maybe. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I can't wait to return to these questions when you finish 3. I can't wait for you to start. And you should be starting Monday.
I am starting on Monday. I'm freaking out because I'm like, I know this one's going to take a lot longer than the other ones did because it's open world, but
I cried when I first started playing Inquisition. I cried because I was very overwhelmed. Because I opened up my quest log and it was like, I was like, I'm going to throw up. Like, there's so many places to go and so many things to do. But it gets so much easier as you keep playing it. It's just such a stark change from 1 and 2, where it's like, this is what you're doing. You're kind of on a track here. You have certain things to do. Like, whereas 1, you definitely get to make decisions and change where you're going on the track. And in 2, it's mostly just one track, but you always get to the same destination. Whereas like 3, it's like there's no track. They just threw you on the ground and said, run. I was like, okay.
I think I got all of my Dragon's Keep stuff locked in and uploaded, like made sure
that's
that
the biggest
all
part.
of the, like I had to go through every single fucking thing you click on to like accept choice to make sure that those were the things that I definitely did. And some of them I was like, I don't remember this person's name. Did I do that?
I was like, I don't remember that. Did I do that?
But yeah, so like I went back through it to make sure, I went into Dragon's Keep to make sure that everything I was bringing over was gonna be accurate because I don't know how much of it is affected.
All of it's important.
Okay.
Let me tell you, all of it's important.
Because there's one quest that I didn't do accidentally. I meant to do it, but I started the Kunari thing and couldn't get out of it to go back to it. So I did not go into the Fade to help Fenrir.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, I keep thinking like in Act 3, I remember hearing it's just very in passing. And it's the only thing you hear about it. But dude says something like, or it's either a woman or a man says something like, Fenrir will send these things after me if I don't do this. And I was like, wait, isn't that the name of that kid that I forgot to save? Fuck. Like,
I will say there's a spirit named Fenrir. Sounds very similar to the name Fenrir, who you do meet in 2. Fenrir is an elven god. So you may have heard it from Meryl.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to her.
I know you don't. But if you hear the words Fen'Harel later, that's what it's there's an elfin god named Fen'Harel.
I'm so excited to play this game, though. I'm so excited.
It's very good. Anyway, so
yes.
Can't wait to go back and we'll check in with these at some point. We need to start wrapping up here as we've gone way longer than we intended. Welcome to our show. I do want to mention just offhandedly, now that we are starting this as a regular series, we are hoping to introduce a couple of segments, particularly to get some of our audience involved, because we want to meet you. We want to know your name and what you're into and what you want to hear us talk about and ask us questions. And part of the way we're going to do that is by starting a Dilly and Dally book club.
Yay!
It's going to be super chill. It's just Nicole and I reading the same book. It'll probably be like about a 2-month period to read it, and then we'll talk about it. So give everyone, including me, time to read the book. And
I was going to say mostly that's for Emily, because Nicole reads at least 2 books a day sometimes.
Valid. Mostly for me. I have no time ever. So, well, I enjoy reading and I enjoy talking about it. It's hard to find the time. And also, if we did it once a month, then that would mean every other episode would have a book club meeting, and I don't want to do that to y'all. So it'll be like every 4 episodes, one of our segments, one of our halves is going to be Dilly and Dally Book Club. So if that's not your bag, if you're not into that, there's still going to be plenty of content for you. If you are into that,
send us your recommendations.
Send us your recs. We'll talk about them. So that's going to be it for us.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching or listening, whichever one you prefer. Thank you for tuning in with What's What with Dilly and Dally. And that's What's What.
That is What's What. Don't forget to Dilly.
And Dally.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.